Welcome to my channel. Subscribe and enjoy my new stories every day. The day began like any other, but the phone call at 10:03 a.m. transformed it into a catalyst that would irreversibly change my life. The voice on the other end was hesitant, belonging to Tom, a colleague of my wife Rosie whom I had met only a couple of times at office parties. "Can we meet?" "It's urgent," his voice cracked, a tone laden with a seriousness that immediately piqued my anxiety. We agreed to meet at a quaint coffee shop tucked away from the usual hustle of the city center. As I approached, I spotted Tom sitting by the window, his fingers nervously tapping on the table, his eyes darting around until they settled on me walking through the door. "Thanks for coming, I don't know how to say this," Tom began, his eyes clouded with unease. The next few minutes felt surreal as Tom revealed the clandestine affairs of the office, the rumors, the secrets, the laughter behind closed doors. But nothing struck harder than his next revelation. "Rosie, she's been seeing Alan, our boss. It's been going on for months. Almost everyone knows." The words hung heavily between us, laden with betrayal. The bustling cafe seemed to fall silent around me, the clinks of coffee cups sounding distant. My initial shock morphed into a cold realization as the pieces fell into place, the late nights, the weekend calls, her evasive glances when I asked about her day. I leaned in, my voice low but firm. "Why are you telling me this, Tom?" Guilt washed over his face. I couldn't stand the hypocrisy anymore. Watching you two at the last company party, knowing what I knew, it felt wrong not to tell you. The drive back home was a blur of red lights and the cacophony of city traffic, all drowned out by the roaring silence that had settled in my chest. By the time I parked, a plan was forming, fueled by a simmering rage and a desire for retribution. Rosie was still at work, oblivious to the storm brewing at home. As I sat at the kitchen table, my laptop open to an empty email draft addressed to Alan, I contemplated the magnitude of the secrets and the lies. The revelation was not just a betrayal, it was a call to action. Rosie and Alan would not get away with their deceit so easily. With each typed word, my resolve hardened. This was just the beginning. I would expose their affair, see that they faced consequences at work, and Rosie, our marriage would end in the glare of the truth. I'd make sure of it. The sun set as I hit send, the sky streaked with shades of orange and red, mirroring the tumultuous shift in my life. The night ahead would be long, and the future uncertain, but one thing was clear, I would never see Rosie the same way again. The next steps would be calculated, each more impactful than the last. This was the start of her unraveling, and my rebirth from the ashes of what I once believed was a perfect marriage. I spend the night restless, pacing the floors of our now eerily silent house, each creak a reminder of the secrets it holds. The ticking clock is a drumbeat to my planning. By morning, my resolve is a hardened steel. Today, I confront Rosie. The early hours are spent in a cafe across from her office, a direct line of sight to the main entrance. I see her arrive, her steps light, a smile playing on her lips, a stark contrast to the storm raging in my chest. As she pushes through the revolving doors at lunch, I intercept her. "Rosie, we need to talk," I say, my voice steady despite the turmoil inside. Her smile fades, a frown marring her face. "What's wrong? Can it wait till tonight?" "No, it can't." My grip tightens on the phone in my pocket, the screen filled with the damning email I sent to her boss. "It's about us, Rosie. Or rather, the lack of us in what you've been doing." We find a secluded bench in the nearby park, a private corner of the world for public betrayals. Rosie sits, her posture rigid, her eyes wary. "What are you talking about?" "I know about you and Alan," I spit out, no longer able to contain the bitterness. "Tom told me everything. The secret office meetings, the late-night calls. It's been the talk of your office, hasn't it? How could you?" Her face blanches, the blood draining as the words sink in. For a moment, there's silence, the kind that screams. Then, she starts to speak, her voice a mix of defiance and defeat. It's not what you think. I was going to tell you, I swear. It just happened. Happened? I laugh, a sound more bitter than amused. Affairs don't just happen, Rosie. You made a choice. And now, so have I. I show her the phone, the sent email visible on the screen. Rosie's eyes widen in panic. You didn't. Please tell me you didn't send that to Alan. I did. And I didn't stop there. My voice is cold, the coldness of finality. I've spoken to a lawyer. I'm filing for divorce. The word divorce hangs between us like a guillotine blade. Rosie reaches out, her hand trembling. Please, can we talk about this? Can we go to counseling? I made a mistake. A mistake. I pull away, standing up. No, a mistake is losing your keys, forgetting to set the alarm. This, what you did, is a betrayal. And I can't just live with it. As I walk away, her pleas fade into the background, drowned out by the clarity of my decision. The next steps are clear. The divorce proceedings, the separation of our lives intertwined by years of what I thought was love, the public fallout of our private lives, these are the necessary endings to her deception. The consequences of exposing Rosie and Alan ripple outward faster than I had anticipated. By the next morning, the whispers had turned into open discussions, their affair the fuel for the office rumor mill, which now burned with the ferocity of a wildfire. I arrive at Rosie's office unannounced, determined to collect some personal items from her desk before she has a chance to shield her shame. The reception area buzzes with the stifled energy of a scandal, heads turning and conversations halting as I pass. In her office, Rosie packs her belongings into a box, her movements hurried, her face drawn and pale. She looks up, startled, as I enter. What are you doing here? Her voice is a mix of fear and anger. I came to get my things, I say, my tone flat. And to see for myself the place where you decided our marriage was worth less than a fling. Rosie winces, her hands clutching a framed photo of us, a remnant of happier times. I didn't think you'd come here. Why? Thought you could hide it from me forever. I grab the photo and slide it into my bag, removing it from her grasp. This doesn't belong here anymore. We are interrupted by a knock at the door. It's Alan, his face flushed with anger and embarrassment. This isn't the time, man, he growls, glancing between Rosie and me. The time seems just right to me, I retort, facing him with defiance. Does everyone know what kind of man runs this place now? A man who preys on his employees. Alan steps into the room, his jaw clenched. You're out of line. This is still my office. And this is still my life you messed with. My voice raises, not caring who hears. You both made your choices, and now you live with them. Rosie, tears brimming in her eyes, pleads, please, let's just go somewhere and talk this out. There's nothing left to discuss. I turn to leave, my parting shot for both of them clear and cold. Enjoy what you've built. It's founded on lies. It'll crumble just the same. As I exit, the murmurs of the office crowd follow me out, a dissonant chorus to the ending of my marital chapter. I walk through the city streets, the air crisp and somehow more vibrant than before. It feels like shedding a skin, painful but necessary for growth. Back home, the reality of my new life begins to take shape. I start rearranging the house, removing Rosie's presents from each room. Every picture, every piece of clothing she left behind goes into boxes, erasing the physical traces of our life together. That night, as I sit alone in the quiet aftermath, my phone buzzes. It's a message from Tom. Heard about today. You okay? I pause, my fingers hovering over the keypad. Am I okay? A question simpler than it seems. I reply, yes. Starting over. It's not just a text, It's a declaration, a commitment to moving forward, leaving the wreckage behind. As I turn off the lights and head to bed, the solitude isn't as daunting as I expected. There's a peace in knowing that the worst has passed, and from here on out, it's about rebuilding and rediscovering who I am on my own terms. Tomorrow, the legal proceedings will start, and I will be ready. The fight for justice isn't just about retribution, it's about claiming back my life, my dignity, my peace. The last few weeks have unfolded with the relentless force of a tempest, sweeping away the remnants of a life I once cherished. The final court session looms, a dark cloud on my horizon, promising closure and an end to the incessant turmoil. As I prepare for court, a sharp knock at my door interrupts my thoughts. It's Tom, his face etched with concern and something else, fear. "We need to talk," he says, stepping inside without waiting for an invitation. "It's about Rosie and Alan." "What now?" My voice is tired, worn thin by the battles I've fought, both legal and personal. They're planning something, to get back at you for all of this. They're not just going to let it go. Tom's hands shake as he speaks, the weight of his loyalty to the office battling his conscience. I stiffen, my mind racing. What are they planning? "They're going to accuse you of embezzlement. Alan's setting it up, making it look like you've been stealing from the company. Rosie's backing him up with fake evidence." Tom's eyes are wide, earnest. "I couldn't let them do it without warning you." A cold fury settles over me, crystalline and sharp. "Thank you," I say, my mind already turning over the new information. "You should go now." Tom nods, leaving me to my brewing storm. I know what I must do. The game has changed, and so must my strategy. This isn't just about divorce anymore, it's about survival. At the court, I watch Rosie and Alan, their heads together, whispering. Their alliance, once hidden by shadows, is now clear as day. As the proceedings start, my lawyer passes me a note. "Your move," it reads. Standing, I address the court, my voice calm but carrying across the room. "Your Honor, may I have a moment before we proceed?" I turn to the crowd, my gaze landing on Rosie and Alan. I have something to reveal. The courtroom murmurs, the spectators leaning in. These accusations against me, planned by my wife and her lover, are based on falsified evidence. I pause for effect, letting the weight of my words sink in. And here's the proof. I present emails, records, all fabricated, but convincingly so, laying out a detailed plan by Rosie and Alan to frame me. The courtroom erupts in chaos, the judge banging his gavel, calling for order. Rosie's face is a mask of shock, her eyes wide as she realizes the tables have turned. Alan's anger is palpable, his fists clenched. But it's too late. The judge orders an investigation, and both are taken away for questioning, their futures uncertain. As I leave the courthouse, a hollow victory in my wake, I feel the weight of my actions. My revenge, though cruel and ruthless, has left me isolated, a Pyrrhic victory that burns all bridges to my past life. Months later, the news comes. Rosie, overwhelmed by the scandal and her crumbling world, took her own life. The news hits me not with satisfaction, but with a profound, unsettling quiet. Alan, destroyed by the legal battles and his tarnished reputation, disappears from the public eye, a shadow of his former self. I stand alone in the ruins of what was once my life, the echoes of my actions reverberating around me. The deceit revealed, the betrayal avenged, but at what cost? My heart is as barren as the burnt-out remains of a once vibrant love. As the sun sets, casting long shadows across my empty home, I realize that in seeking revenge, I've obliterated my past but also my future, leaving nothing but ashes and echoes in my wake.